Okay, I'm going to try to finish off chapter 13 in this video. It's not a very long chapter. We're in Rape of the Mind, the bureaucratic mind. In a state where terror is used to keep the people in line, the administrative machine may become the exclusive property and tool of the dictator. The development of a kind of bureaucratic absolutism is not limited, however, to totalitarian countries. A mild form of professional absolutism is evident in every country in the mediating class of civil servants who bridge the gap between man and his rulers. Such a bureaucracy may be used to help or to harm the citizens it should serve. It is important to realize that a peculiar, silent form of battle goes on in all the countries of the world, under every form of government, a battle between the common man and the government apparatus he himself has created. In many places we can see that this governing tool, which was originally meant to serve and assist man, has gradually obtained more power than it was intended to have. Is Saint Bureaucratus a devil who takes possession of a man as soon as he is given governmental responsibility? Are administrators infected with a desire to create a sham order to manipulate others from behind their green steel desks? Governmental techniques are no different from any other psychological strategy. The deadening hold of regimentation can take mental possession of those dedicated to it if they are not alert. And this is the intrinsic danger of the various agencies that mediate between the common man and his government. It is a tragic aspect of life that man has to place another fallible man between himself and the attainment of his highest ideals. Which human failings which will manifest themselves most readily in the administrative machine? Lust for power, automatism, and mental rigidity, all these breed suspicion and intrigue. Being a high civil servant subjects a man to a dangerous temptation simply because he is part of the ruling apparatus. He finds himself caught in the strategy complex. The magic of becoming an executive and a strategist provokes long repressed feelings of omnipotence. A strategist feels like a chess player. He wants to manipulate the world by remote control. Now he can keep others waiting, as he was forced to wait himself in his salad days, and thus he can feel himself superior. He can entrench himself behind his official regulations and responsibilities. At the same time, he must continually convince others of his indispensability because he is too loath to vacate his seat. As a defense against his relative unimportance, he has to expand his staff, increasing the bureaucratic apparatus. In order to become a VIP, one needs big office. Each new staff member requests new secretaries and new typewriters. Everything begins to get out of hand, but everything must be controlled. New and better files must be installed, new conferences called, and new committees set up. The Staff Interaction Committee talks for days on end. New supervisors are created to supervise the old supervisors and to keep the whole group in a state of infantile servility. And what was formerly done by one man is now done by an entire staff. Finally, the bureaucratic tension becomes too great, and the managerial despotic urge looks for rest and a nervous breakdown. This creeping totalitarianism of the desk and file goes on nearly everywhere in the world. As soon as civil servants can no longer talk humanely and genially, but write down everything in black and white and keep long minutes in overflowing files, the battle for administrative power has begun. Compulsive order, red tape, and regulation become more important than freedom and justice. In the meantime, suspicion between management, employees, and subjects increases. Written and printed documents and reports have become dangerous objects in the world. After a conversation, even when there are harsh words, inanities are soon forgotten. But on paper these words are perpetuated and can become part of a system of growing suspicion. Many people become administrators in public affairs out of idealistic feelings of service and avocation. Others try to escape the adventure of life by becoming part of the civil service corps. Such service assures them a settled income, regular promotion, and a sense of job security. It is very alluring, this feeling of security. The smooth automatism and polished rigidity of the red tape world is very attractive to certain types of men, but it may devitalize others who still believe in challenge and spontaneity. The burning psychological question is whether man will eventually master his institutions so that these will serve him and not rule him. In totalitarian countries, one is not permitted to see the humor of one's own shortcomings. The system, the red tape, and the manifold files become more important than the poor being lost in his chair behind a huge desk, looking much too important for his mental bearings. The art of being a leading administrator, of being a genuine representative of the people, is a difficult one, requiring multiple empathy and identification with other people and their motivations. Diplomats and politicians still believe in verbal persuasion and argumentative tactics. It is a very old and alluring game, this strategy of political maneuvering with official slogans and catchwords, the subtlety of bypassing the truth in the service of partisanship, of giving faulty emphasis, the skill of dancing around selected arguments to arrive at personal propagandistic aims or party aims. Sooner or later, nearly all politicians become infected with the bug. Under the burden of their responsibilities, they give in to the desire to play the game of diplomacy. They start to compromise in their thinking and bend backwards and to become circumspect, lest their remarks are criticized by the higher echelons, or they fall back into infantile feelings of magic and omnipotence. They want to have their fingers in every pie, to the left and to the right. All these are dangerous mental streaks of every human being, which can develop more easily in politicians and administrators because of the growing impact of modern governmental techniques and their threat to free expression. When a man gets entangled in strategical and political talk, something changes in his attitude. He is no longer straightforward. He doesn't express and communicate what he thinks, but he worries about what others are thinking about him behind their facades. He becomes too prudent and starts to build all kinds of mental defenses and justifications around himself. In short, he learns to assume the strategic attitude. Forget spontaneity, deny enthusiasm, don't demand inner honesty of yourself or others, never reveal yourself, never expose yourself, play the strategist, be careful and use more buts and howevers, never commit yourself. I remember a leader of the opposition who became completely confused and nearly collapsed when, after a long time out of office, his party won an election and he had to assume governmental responsibility. From an aggressive, outspoken critic, he became a hesitating, insinuating, neurotic, playing the tactful strategist, having no real initiative. Some politicians are puppets, spokesmen of their bosses. Some are the cavalier jugglers of words who transfer human aggressions into slogans. There are also the loudmouthed trumpeters of doom who resort to the argument of panic. Modern politics is carried out with obsolete rules of conversation, communication, and discussion, and too few politicians are aware of the semantic pitfalls and emotional dishonesties of the word tools they must use to convince others. Yet, mutual understanding can become a basis of political strategy. It is not power politics with verbal deceit and catchwords that is needed, but mental probing to find ways in which proposals and suggestions may cut down the resistance of those with different opinions and motivations. Politicians often forget that their fight for administrative power may become a form of psychological warfare against the integrity of the minds of those who are compelled to listen. And I'm going to finish this paragraph and stop because I thought I'd make it in this video, but it appears not. I've only got a couple minutes. The repetitious mutual calumny so often used during elections gradually undermines the democratic system and leads to the urge for authoritarian control. The strategic rumors and suspicions the politicians sow are an attack on human integrity. I'll end it right there. And we just got a few more paragraphs and that'll end this chapter. So I'll see you there.